Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is testifying on Capitol Hill right now, and it comes as the department is in a partial shutdown because lawmakers have failed to reach a funding agreement. It's Secretary Noem's first time facing lawmakers since the Trump administration's recent immigration crackdown in Minneapolis.
I recognize that members of this committee may hold differing views about immigration policy, but it's important that we distinguish between disagreements over policy and the department's operational responsibility to enforce existing law that has been passed by Congress. It's our duty as a department to defend our homeland. The latest Democrat-led shutdown of DHS is reckless, it's unnecessary, and it undermines the American national security, and it harms the men and women who work at DHS and their families. Despite the House passing a bipartisan, bicameral full-year DHS funding bill, it is Senate Democrats who've chosen not to fund the department and have held this department hostage.
CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is live on Capitol Hill for us today. Caitlin, what else have we heard from Secretary Noem so far?
Well, the biggest question that I had, that reporters had, that some lawmakers had, was surrounding what happened in Minnesota. This is the first time that Secretary Noem has come before Congress after the shooting deaths of 2 American citizens in Minnesota. And the biggest question heading into this surrounds her calling those domestic terrorists and whether she had any evidence for that. That was an unfounded claim at the time and remains so. She was pressed by Senator Durbin, the ranking member of this committee, on that specifically. Take a listen.
Can you explain why you decided to brand these victims that we all saw on video who were out protesting the activities of your agency and were killed as a result of it? How did you think that calling them domestic terrorists at that scene was somehow going to calm the situation?
You know, Senator, we are working in those situations where there's a tragic loss of life and that there is something that our agents are involved in, that we continue to deliver information.
Is it so hard to say you were wrong?
We continue, as these investigations continue to go, we will provide, I absolutely strive to provide factual information and will continue to do that.
So that remains an open question. She was interrupted later by protesters, but the acknowledgement of whether that was wrong, she didn't go there, at least in this setting. And I should note that this has been usually these hearings fall along partisan lines, and by and large this one has, except she's also been pressed by some Republicans as well. We heard from Senator Kennedy, who's a Republican, press not only on that domestic terrorist claim, but also on the spending from this department, particularly on ads that the secretary has put forth, also on spending on a private jet that had been reported. So what's significant here, and we're waiting to see from Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina, he's also on this committee, and you may remember that he had called on her to resign after the shootings in Minnesota. And so we're waiting for that line of questioning as well, which makes this hearing significant because this would have been a bipartisan pressing of a administration official who has come under fire from members of both parties. Now, another thing hovering over all of this is funding for the department. You may remember funding for DHS has lapsed. Democrats said that they won't support long-term funding for the agency unless there are reforms to ICE put in place, and there hasn't yet been an agreement on that front. The White House and Republicans have been going back and forth for a while now, haven't reached an agreement. Now, Republicans, in light of what happened with Iran, are calling on Democrats to approve that funding because they cite the potential threat of a retaliation from Iran and domestic threats increasing. So we'll see how that plays out here, but this is a secretary essentially under fire on a number of fronts from both parties.
Okay, Caitlin Huey-Burns on Capitol Hill for us today. Thank you so much for your time.